Wait, I finally found this. I had the pleasure of relocating, so this was a bit of a nightmare to find in one of my boxes, and in the process I did lose my R3 stick, but I got a bit of a replacement just for now. In this video we've been looking at the latest update for the RightSprite Pocket 2 Plus, which is 1.008, and this is so much more of a better, convenient way than what we used to do with the original RightSprite Pocket 2. In this video we're going to be looking into how to update it, and then also the features that it's going to be bringing, and perhaps at the end of the video we're going to be doing a bit of nagging to see what else we want to get out of this system. And of course I'd like to hear what your comments are in the comments box below. But before we go ahead and do that, I'd like to welcome my second sponsor, well, kinda again. LHBD wireless earpods are hitting a great budget price, especially with the rise of the competitors that are recently coming out. Now you can have the convenient factor of the well overpriced AirPods without breaking the bank. These are Bluetooth 5.2, they are waterproof, which is great for joggers, or if you live where I'm from, it just loves to rain here, like most of the time. They include touch control, USB-C charging wireless, and they are stated to ensure strong bass and clear sound, optimized tuning and reproduction with HD lossless technology. Some big words there. These are compatible with iPhone, Galaxy, Android smartphone and most other devices that have Bluetooth. Personally, I love music on the go and I love to take my passion around with me. I can safely say now these are pretty great, and for the first time now I am converted to using Bluetooth headphones, making these now my new go-to. After a strong week of testing, I've been charging the stock just for a few hours at the beginning, and that's all it seems to need. After many years of bad experience with Bluetooth headsets and decent ones with a high price, you can now bag these in the timing of this video for just £15. So yeah, these little fellas are pretty tidy, but they're kind of a sponsor really, because the company just contacted me saying, we're a bit of a fan of your channel and we'd just love to see these in one of your videos. So not even affiliated, but the only one little complaint I would say, when you open it, it will just say power, and you put it in, it'll say on. That has a little, like an orgasm every time you put it in, so it just sounds a bit funny. Anyway, back to the main content on this video. How to update this now is pretty simple. Head to your settings tab and then scroll down to the bottom, and then you shall see your systems, and then click there and then head down to the bottom and check updater. Then you can see the version that is available on your RightSprite Pocket 2. If it says 1.007, you know you need to get the update. So check for updates and then you can start the update process. Now this does take quite a while to do. It took about 20 minutes to download all the necessary files. Even though the download size isn't that big, it's just trying to connect to the Chinese servers. So you have to be a bit patient on that. And then when you've got that downloaded, you just get a black screen, and then you got the updater installing the necessary files. So after about 10 to 15 minutes of that installing, we're all good to go. And you just want to check which version is now installed on your device. So let's head down to system again and then head to about the RightSprite Pocket 2. And if you scroll down again, you can see the build number. So there we are, we're all good now with the latest update. So we can look at the version info to see what updates have now been applied to the RightSprite Pocket 2 Plus. There's quite a fair bit. We got added more systems to the game launcher, an OTA app that now automatically checks the available updates and notifies you when they are available. So that's great, you don't have to go out your own way. Has lowered the brightness of the charging LED light, so that just saves a bit more battery, which is great. Has added a manual dead zone slider for both the analog sticks inside the input control menu. Even though I do consider the R stick on this device a bit naff, at least we got a bit more settings to play around with. It's added new games and emulators to the startup wizard, so if you're brand new to the RightSprite Pocket 2, you've got these extra features. It has an optimized and default settings for the Dolphin emulator to enhance performance. The Dolphin emulator is for the GameCube emulation, so I'll be looking into that later on in this video. It's optimized the policy and 3 memory for background apps and system for running lower on memory, so it's going to be more utilizing more extra space for the emulation using the RAM. Change the default PWM frequency, the backlit reduced noise. Not sure really if that is going to be beneficial. Never really looked in that before. Fixed screen mapping and gyro bugs. So if you guys got the all-in-one RightSprite Pocket 2 Plus with a touchscreen, it's fixed a fair few bugs on that. It's changed the default backlight settings to 50%. So that's pretty great, because I normally when you turn this thing on, it is pretty bright, and now we can save that extra bit more battery. Now let's jump into its main biggest feature, which is including further apps and games with the installation wizard. Now head to your settings and find the handheld settings. Find the advanced, which is scroll down to the bottom, and then re-enter setup wizard. It does prompt you with a message to advise you that this does restart the device and enter a setup process, and that all your data will not be lost. Well, hopefully now this version is applied as default with any up and coming purchased Retroid Pocket 2 Pluses. Even though this is an initial setup for a brand new device, this method is just simply adding any of the other setup process and apps and extras you will now like to include. So now, like my original video of setting up the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, you're basically doing the same thing. So pressing R1, selecting your language, doing your time zone, and doing your Wi-Fi. Pretty straightforward. I always make sure that the Google Play Store is enabled, and now we have all the brand new fun stuff with the pre-installed apps. So it does include some of the original ones that this originally came with. But there's a lot of new stuff that now we can play with. There's definitely a fair few bit of games that you need to mod and to change. So if, for instance, we got Open Lara, we even got Serious Sam, which is something I'm definitely going to be looking into in this video. So we just want to change our launcher. I always go with the standard default, and I just selected all the apps really and just went to complete. So this is going to install all the new features. Now here we are at the main front end screen. Nothing much has visually changed here. Mine was already previously set to dark mode, in case you were wondering. Now let's head and find some new emulators. Here are the brand new version of Dolphin, which was specifically built for the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. I'm still not very hopeful really of its compatibility, but I'm sure now we'll be able to get a good handful of GameCube games running on this device. PS2 emulator, though this system is perhaps more of a struggle to emulate, but with some testing up and some setting, we could push out a fair few titles.
This is Big Viper T301, commencing attack on the end.
Now let's touch on these extra games that are now included in the startup wizard. As mentioned before, you will need to do some extra work to get these PC ports up and running for legal measures. I'll just show you how to get Serious Sam 2, for example, up and running. Now you have the app installed, you have to get the necessary files of the PC game. So first thing you have to do is head to Steam and make a purchase of the Serious Sam Classic, the second encounter. The bare bones version, there's a couple editions out there, this is the one that you need to get this app up and running. Now when that is downloaded, open up the location of your installed Steam game library and open up the Serious Sam folder. That's all you have to do is simply transfer the necessary files to the Serious Sam folder found in the root folder of your RB2 Plus. Not all the files from the game, just the .gro files that are shown. Now once they are in, now it's all ready and up and running. It does run at a good solid 60 FPS, which is pretty awesome. The one letdown that I can't seem to change is the resolution. It is a very low 240p, so no wonder why it's getting a good 60 FPS. 480p in this screen will just work and look pretty fine. There may be a way around this, but perhaps I just haven't got around to finding out how to do so yet. For the other games to get up and running, this type of method is the gist of it. There are also other PC titles that work the same on this device that are not included up in the startup wizard, like the Quake titles, but it's just worth to have a look around what the internet can provide. This device could be able to run some PC games via emulation before this update, but now with this wizard it does include a bunch of the titles that it is now compatible with. I can see this side of PC emulation growing in the future. Another welcome addition is the extras now built into the front end, which honestly should have been there in the first place. You can now add further systems with a further enhanced image scraper, which may perhaps be one of the best ones out there comparing it to other handheld emulation devices. If your name title of the game is a bit wrong or quite hard to find, then your built-in scraper will do its best to find out. You can also now add manual cover art, which is great, so you can just track down through Google Images and add the ones that you want. For me, I'm personally going to be sticking with Dig front end, as with my custom theme, a lot more is going on here, but with the built-in one now heading into a better direction. If you are interested in using the Dig theme that I'm currently using, you will find a download link below. Another simple thing that is now added, you can now move the Jazzboard icons around to where you see fit. As mentioned before, the Wizard does include a new version of the Dolphin emulator to get those GameCube games up and running. Now with this version, it is a built-in version that has a tweak settings per title to run at its best. This makes it a lot more better to get a really good test for further compatibility. On the left hand side of the video you will see the original emulator running this game, and then on the right hand side you will see the newer emulator, and you can see is a better stable frame rate for this title. Though I have only tried a handful of games, the RP2 Plus is not designed to keep up the spec of the demand of emulating GameCube games, or even the emulator itself is not designed for lower power devices. With this app you will find it easier for testing GameCube games out. With just a few playable titles you're getting more out of the system, which is great, and testing this out with this app you will then provide further knowledge on the designers to get a better app for the up and coming devices, such as, let's say, the Retroid Pocket 3. With this update of the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus now looking mighty tasty, comparing it to the competition that's out there for its unique size, build and power, but of course there are some issues that will need to be addressed. Well guys, it's pretty awesome that we're still getting support for this device. I can't wait to see what the future brings. I must apologise again for the sound of my throat. It's just been a bit sore throughout making this video. Some things I do like to see addressed for this device, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well, is the support for the N64. Now the app I've been using that I got best luck out of is the N64 OID. You can't really download that through the Play Store, you have to try and give that a Google. I'll put a link in the description box below, but if you guys have managed to find any better support for the N64, let me know in the comment box below. Another annoying thing I'd like to see is OTG support. If we can get some more USB ports out of this USB-C. I managed to get one USB working, but anything else, nothing much else is working. So we're a bit limited using the Bluetooth or even compatibility with other controllers. The best luck I've had is using the Xbox One series controller. Perhaps even with other Xbox One's controller, it was just simply plug and play via the USB port with the OTG USB single adapter. So better controller support, and another thing is a higher resolution of HDMI output. The thing that we got here is a bit limited to how much resolution we can get out there. So on a big screen 480p is fine using the old screens, but if we can get higher resolution that'd be pretty nice, but I'm sure we'll be seeing that in later devices. And of course the R3 stick is still naff, but we got some settings now we can play with. And as always, if you like this video, hit that button. If you want to help support this channel, click subscribe, leave a comment below, and I catch you lot on my next video.